Hey everyone, Matt here from Docs Running, and today we're going to do a comparison review of the New Balance Fuel Cell SC Elite version 4 and the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. Now the purpose of this comparison is I've actually found these shoes to be fairly good if you're looking for not the most aggressive super shoe on the market. So for runners that are maybe a little bit newer or definitely newer for super shoes, or who maybe don't do well with the really aggressive, overly stiff, crazily bouncy ones, these actually might be some good options for you to use as racing shoes or for long run shoes or what have you. So want to help you again if you're interested in either one of them, give you an idea of which one might be better for you depending on what factor. So let's start with specs. First of all, the SC Elite version 4 is coming in at 8.1 ounces or about 230 grams for men's size 9, women's size 10.5. The Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 is coming in at 7.7 ounces or about 218 grams for men's size 9, women's size 10.5. Stack height wise, the SC Elite version 4 is coming in at 40 millimeters in the heel, 36 in the forefoot for a 4 millimeter drop. So a little bit on the lower drop end, although I don't always feel that. The Endorphin Pro 4 is 40 millimeters in the heel and 32 in the forefoot for an 8 millimeter drop, although that doesn't always feel like an 8 millimeter drop, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Foam wise, now these are equal as the SC Elite version 4. The fuel cell foam has now been updated to a PEBA based material. It is definitely noticeable. There's a really comfortable bounce and roll to this shoe. You can see there's a very early forefoot rocker, and this just makes the shoe super good for rolling along. I've actually been totally fine using this for some easy runs, although I would still suggest using this strategically and not using this for all your runs, but it can work well at easy paces. It does really well with long runs. It rolls around very smoothly. There is some bounce. It's not nearly as stable as maybe some other shoes, just because although it does have a wider base, the foam is really soft and really comfortable underfoot. Pace wise, it really can handle pretty much at most marathon pace, and then I struggled to get it to go any faster than that. But up tempo and easy, it feels really good. On the other end of the spectrum, again, the Power Run PB in here, and there's actually a layer of Power Run HG right under the foot, which is kind of their more aggressive foam, makes this shoe feel, the Endorphin Pro 4 feel relatively or slightly firmer, although these are both very cushioned, high stack shoes, super stack shoes, high stack shoes. It's just a little bit firmer ride in the Saucony Endorphin Pro and quite a bit more vertical bounce. So while this shoe, the SC Elite, really rolls along, this one has a little bit more bounce. It doesn't kind of roll as much. I found the forefoot to be just a little bit stiffer, and that's probably because the forefoot rocker starts a little bit later, but just a little bit more aggressive ride. Still really comfortable. And to me, the reason I put this on here is I don't feel like, and Andrea and see our episode with that doesn't agree with me, but I don't feel like this is the fastest shoe. You want the SC Elite, you want some of the other shoes from Saucony, might be going a little bit faster. This one feels like it's also fairly good for marathon paces, but it feels a little bit better going into half marathons. There's a little bit more versatility in terms of speed over here with the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 in terms of, again, just being a little bit stiffer up on the forefoot, having a little bit more vertical bounce, but doesn't, again, feel like the most aggressive shoe. In terms of the heel bevel, I will give the nod to the Fuel Cell Elite version 4. Does have a slightly smoother heel bevel. Both have fairly good ones. There's just a little bit more extended lateral flare on the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, so it just makes it slightly more clunky, but they both have fairly smooth heel transitions, so not too much difference there. It's just the foams underfoot and the paces they feel good at. This one doesn't feel nearly as good at easy paces, although it can do it. The SC Elite 4 definitely feels better at easy efforts, but if you're trying to pick up the pace, the Endorphin Pro 4 definitely has a little bit more versatility, or a good amount more versatility into running faster, whereas this one really maxes out at that marathon pace for me, but it doesn't make it any less comfortable. When it comes to fit, that's where these also are a little bit different. So there is a good amount of volume in each one of these, but the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 definitely wins in the amount of volume. You can see how tightly I've had to really lock down the laces here to get a secure fit, and the tongue kind of folded on itself, whereas the SC Elite version 4 does have good amount of room. It's not the highest volume or the widest shoe on the planet, but it does have a good amount of room for maybe average width feet to maybe slightly above average widths and volumes here. So both of them feel fairly good. Heel counters, again, a little bit larger, slightly more flexible over here, a little bit smaller, a little bit stiffer over on the Endorphin Pro 4, but fairly light uppers with a little bit lighter over here, but a lot more volume in the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. So if you have a little bit more size to your foot, a little bit more to, like kind of like, especially like a higher instep, for example, the Endorphin Pro is probably going to work a little bit better for you. But the SC Elite also might work really, really well. Both comfortable uppers, just more volume and room over here. In terms of stability, that's where these also go in completely different directions. So the SC Elite version 4 doesn't have anything crazy. Yeah, the midfoot is a little bit wider, sole's a little bit wider, it's a nice strong guidance line right through here, but the sole is soft enough and there's not really any major sidewalls here. This is a fairly neutral shoe. Anybody with mild stability, maybe moderate stability requirements, you're probably not going to do super great with this shoe, but it's not going to be terrible for you, which is great, okay? It is just not the most stable, whereas the Endorphin Pro 4 actually is the more stable of the two of them. Again, really nice filled in midfoot here, kind of very similar straighter last throughout this entire thing, and really, really nice sidewalls on the medial and lateral side. So if you do well with sidewalls and that portion here, you're actually probably going to do a little bit better with the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. It's definitely not a stability shoe, just like no super racing shoe is, but it's a little bit more stable and should work better for you if you have some mild stability needs or just need a little bit of guidance throughout a longer run, whereas the SC Elite version 4 is going to work a lot better for those who are either sensitive to stability methods or really don't need that much. So overall, I really enjoy each one of these for very different reasons. The SC Elite version 4 is my super comfortable, like, wow, this feels good. I could go do a long run without thinking the shoe, although it might not be quite stable enough for me. Whereas the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4 is like, hey, if I needed to go run a marathon tomorrow and I just wanted something comfortable, but I could still like push the pace a little bit, that's where I would really prefer the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. Both of them are really good shoes. Both of them are good updates, but they are updates and have gone in different directions. And I really hope that helps. Again, if you want to see a different opinion on the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4, please see the podcast episode that I did with Andrew where we talked about our different experiences. But outside of that, the comment that I want you to leave below is if you've tried these, do you agree or disagree with me? Because again, each person has different experiences. The hope is always with this website is to share stuff so you can make better decisions for you and hopefully find shoes that work even better for you as an individual.